Hello fellow readers, today I'm going to be talking about a very interesting book, and it's kind of a genre blend as well. You may remember this book from one of my book hauls, but it was Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore, and this is by Matthew Sullivan. I picked this up from Book Outlet back in the day, and it was a really good price. I picked it up because I saw a bookstore and books on the cover, and the description seemed very interesting. And I'm really glad that I took a chance on this because it was a really good book. It was kind of a blend of mystery and family drama. Maybe small town drama would be better. Maybe a combination. It's family and small town drama blended with a mystery. And I did not know it was be as good as it was, but it is very interesting. It follows the main character, Lydia, who works at the Bright Ideas bookstore. And when the book opens, she's working at the bookstore. They're getting ready to close, and she keeps hearing like the sound of books dropping, and so she's curious about what's going on. When she goes to check upstairs, she discovers one of their young, frequent customers has hanged himself in the stack somewhere. And not only did he hang himself, but she discovers that he has in his possession, as he's hanging there, a photograph of her as a young girl at her birthday party. I think she was around 10. And so she immediately starts to wonder, why does he have this? And what's his connection to this picture and to me? And so that sets off the whole mystery part. So Lydia, much unnerved by the presence of this picture, really is spurred into investigating and finding out just who he is. She doesn't know his name. His name is Joey. But who is Joey? Why does he have this picture? And also, what drove him to kill himself in the bookstore that she works? What is her tie to him? And as she's doing this investigation about Joey, we also get flashes to her past. Immediately, like right after the whole Joey incident and the news reports, Lydia does like sort of flashback to her childhood. And it turns out that she is the survivor of this horrible murder in this small town. And you will get chapters interspersed throughout her investigating about Joey, about this terrible, well, her, not just the terrible incident, but her childhood and what led up to that incident. And this is something that has greatly affected Lydia, and she kind of tries to pretend that it never happened or existed. She doesn't want it brought up, but she was a subject of like national news because she was the only one who survived, but they could never find the killer. And it's something that has haunted her ever since. And I don't know, it was such an interesting story, like trying to piece together what happened in the past and how does it connect to what is happening today. You do get to work out all the pieces, but it was just a very interesting story and a way of navigating. From the present day angle, it's interesting because Joey left her all of his belongings. He actually got rid of a bunch of stuff before he committed suicide, but he left certain things for her. And one of the most important things was that he has this set of books where he had trimmed out different parts of the words, and he has replaced like the back sticker, like the purchasing sticker about what the book is on all of those books. And it turns out that if you take the book that he has cut things out of and the book that he's referencing on the back and lay over the pages, he's left messages for Lydia to work out his story and what happened. So you do get to hear really Joey's story and what happened to him that led him to this point. And you will find out through Lydia's research and her her current investigation, but also kind of willingness to look into things finally, you will get to piece together what happened in her childhood and who the killer was from back then. So in case you're wondering why I said that it blended stuff, so one, the whole small town drama comes in because this is a smaller locale in Colorado, and kind of back in the day, everybody knew like other people's business and what was going on. And a lot of these same people are kind of coming into play a bit now with this whole situation. And it's more of a family drama as well because of Lydia's wanting to separate herself from the incident that happened when she was a child. She has really not spoken to her father in years. So you will see her kind of start to work out that relationship with her father. She also has a childhood friend that she hasn't spoken to in a while, and he enters back into her life. So you see that whole development there. And I don't know, this plays on so many different things. I think above all, it is more of a mystery. You have to discover like who done it and why, or in part of the case in this one, it's we know who done it, but why did he do it? And just seeing like the way that he left his clues, it was interesting. Like you wanted to keep reading to find out what was his full story. And you also feel kind of bad for Joey because he was a young customer and he did love books and reading. And so you're just, what would lead him to make this horrible decision? How did he feel so alone in the world, kind of without hope? So it was very emotionally touching as well. That's about all the details I'm going to give you without giving out details. I would say it's one that you have to read and enjoy in order to get the full thing. I'm not going to give it away because it's a story you got to read through. And that was interesting. And yeah, it made you really like try to work out the pieces in your head. You're like, okay, something happened to Lydia way back then. Who did it? And there are some like suspects from back then that will pop up as the kind of flashback chapters happen. And you'll have to see whether or not you're right by the end. Yeah, I would say definitely give Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore by Matthew Sullivan a read. I do think it's worth it. It's a very quick read too, especially since there are the message pieces to it. But also in general, it was a very quick book. Let me just double check. 326 pages. Fairly good size print. Super readable. I was just looking in the back of my copy because there's a little bit of a reader's guide. So this would actually be a great book club pick. And it even includes the topics and questions for discussion. So if you are a member of a book club, I would maybe recommend choosing this for your next book club to give it a read because everything's prepared for you right in the book. And if you need to get a cheap copy of the book, it may still be available on Book Outlet at a very affordable rate. I feel like I'm doing a commercial. But that's all I have to say about that book. And I think that wraps it up for this video. Until next time. Bye.